How to create an implant bridge using the digital walks-up function. In order to create an accurate implant bridge, we first need to fill out the job profile. We first type in the patient's first and last name. After that, we select the type of job we want to design. In this case, we will be designing an implant bridge that stretches from tooth 14 to 15. By clicking the right mouse button, we select tooth 15. The software opens a drop-down menu where we select Implants. Screw retained. We then confirm our selection by clicking on tooth 14 with the left mouse button. This way, we specify the extent of our job. We also have an intraoral scan with the antagonist available. After setting the correct profile, we tick the option Digital Walks-Up. At the bottom right of the page, we confirm our selection and return to the Order Manager. Here, we can access the modeling phase by selecting the tooth icon at the top left. The software will automatically start the wizard to import the scan files. The project folder will open and we will select all required files one by one. The files we need to import are indicated at the top of the window. After importing the files, the CAD software will show them on the screen. At the bottom of the screen, we see a step bar. The step bar will guide our work step after step until we are ready to export our project. The step bar is interactive and leads us through the entire design process of a correct prosthesis. Each step includes several functions. The main functions are listed on the top. On the right side of the screen, we find our model tree. This shows all the elements of our model during the design process. Let's start our job. First of all, we need to correctly position the occlusal plane in order to identify the working arch. The fastest way is by selecting the option From Points. We select 2 points above the posterior teeth and the last one between the central incisors. We then check the orientation of the occlusal plane. In this case, we see the upper arch from the occlusal side, so the stylized view of the plane should have the shape of a model. By double-clicking on one of the 4 contour points, we can rotate the plane and then confirm the direction in the upper left corner. Let us now register the scan body with the Align Implant function. As a first, we select the correct implant position. Then, we select the implant family, its type, and finally, the diameter. In this case, our scan bodies are Inditech scan bodies, Zimmer type, with a diameter of 3.5. If you would like to learn more about how to download implant libraries, we recommend watching Order Manager. You can find this video on our YouTube channel. Let us get back to our current job. Automatically, HypsoCAD places 3 points above the digital scan body in the lower left corner. These are the very same points we needed to position on the scan in order to locate the correct implant position. Once in position, we can check the correct alignment by activating the color map. We repeat the same process for all locators and confirm our selection at the top left of the screen. The other tools we find on the left are optional. If you wish to learn more about them, we recommend watching our preparation step video on our YouTube channel. Let us continue and switch to the merging line step on the step bar. Here, we can create the emergence profile of our job and change its shape with the Edit Lower function. The shortcut Ctrl plus left mouse button allows us to raise or lower the control lines, while with the Alt plus left mouse button we can enlarge or reduce them. By using the mouse pointer, we can freely customize the emergence profile. The Define function allows us to draw the contact area with the mucosa. We select the correct implant position and draw the emergence profile. At this point, we switch to Internal. During this step, HypsoCAD creates a new mesh. We can use this mesh to correct the undercuts of the arch. We have two options. Either we switch to the external step without compensating for the undercuts, or we open the Correct Wax-Up Undercuts function. In order to correct the undercuts, we need to enter an implant insertion. This insertion can be set manually by moving the blue arrow, or we can just set a view. Once we are ready, we confirm our selection in the upper left corner. With the Sculpt function, we can customize the undercuts by adding or removing material to our liking. After we are finished setting all options, we switch to External. In this step, we can modify the teeth shape and position. All parameters for the Settings tool are assigned depending on the profile that has been selected at the previous stage. By selecting the library in the upper left side of the screen, we can choose from several types of anatomical shapes, both for the individual tooth and for the entire restoration. The Place function, we correctly place the anatomies, regardless the implant position. As a matter of fact, HypsoCAD will combine all parts during the Refinement step, thanks to the Digital Wax-Up function. By pressing Ctrl on the keyboard, we rotate the tooth shape. By pressing the Shift key, we enlarge or reduce it. All constraints will help us move and modify the anatomies in a controlled manner. Let us go on directly to the Sculpt tool, which allows us to add, remove, smooth, and deform portion of the tooth. The artificial intelligence at the basis of this function can recognize and split the anatomy into various parts, basing on the area we click on. Correct Shape allows us to correct all pre-contacts automatically. If applicable, HypsoCAD will use an Info Point tab to point out any essential advice or piece of information for a correct workflow. Let us switch to the Framework step. HypsoCAD will now automatically reduce the anatomies by the value indicated in the Setup step. However, all parameters are customizable under the Settings tool. Thanks to the Color function, we can isolate all irrelevant areas with a brush during the reduction. We can therefore create shoulders, occlusal, stops, or contact areas. Let us now move on the connectors on our step bar. Here, the Edit tool allows us to modify the shape by choosing the appropriate connector type. Moreover, in the Advanced section, we can interact with the control points and monitor the connector area, which will be shown on the sides of the screen. Once we are done, we can switch to the refinement step. In this step, HypsoCAD connects all the parts of our restoration and drills them according to the type of library we chose earlier. Depending on the library, we can angle the screw channel through the control lines. The software immediately shows us the angle applied to the bridge. By entering the hole protection function, we can customize the screw hole protection. We can find all useful shortcuts in the lower left corner of the software window. These shortcuts can considerably speed up machining your job. The refinement step also includes the gingiva tool. This tool is extremely useful when we wish to draw the digital gingiva for a single tooth or for the whole bridge. We just need to draw the gums emergence. And customize their parameters. All changes will be visible after clicking on Apply Preview on the left side of the software. Once we're done with the gingiva, HypsoCAD automatically adds a new step. The software automatically reduces the gingiva while switching to the next step. This parameter can be changed under Settings. Thanks to the partial reduction function, we can isolate all irrelevant areas with a brush during the reduction. Each step has a sculpt tool, which allows us to freely shape our job. We now move on to the export step. Here, we can choose the save path, or alternatively, we can end the export by selecting the arrow at the bottom right of the screen. The file will be saved in the project folder